here with my wife Penelope. We've been members of this meeting since 1953, and have been regular attenders since. So we know a bit about recent history. I've been given some notes on the history of Quakers in Exeter, nearly all of which is unfamiliar to me. And I can go on a bit after the end of these notes. They are interesting in that they give the story of how Quakerism was first introduced into Exeter and the very early days. And it says, in the spring of 1654, 6 first publishers of the truth set out from Swarthmore in 3 groups. Can I just interrupt to ask, is everyone hearing me? Because I am aware that the hearing system, the system we had in the building for helping hearing, has been ripped out on Wednesday, and a new system installed. And although I'm partly responsible, I haven't any idea about working it or being trained on using it. It is designed to have a loop system for hearing aids, which need to be switched to the T. It is also designed to have a low-level amplification to back up a speaker for those who don't recognise that they have a hearing loss, such as myself. But if you're not hearing me, I can usually speak so I'm heard in the meeting, so just shove your hand up if you are having any difficulty.
I'm hearing you with the most almighty hiss.
Oh, it's working.
Yes, with an almighty hiss. Perhaps I'll go back to normal.
So, can I go on? In 1654, John Audland and Thomas Airy visited Devon, including Exeter. John Audland was a young man of 24 with deep biblical knowledge, great enthusiasm and commitment. Thomas Airy was an older man who gave up his mission after visiting Plymouth. I don't know what the connection there is. These two perhaps only made a small effect, but the following year Miles Hallhead and Thomas Salthouse came to Exeter, and the first meeting in Exeter, of which there is a definite record, was held by George Fox on Thursday, 14th of September 1656. At that time there were more friends imprisoned in Exeter than were living in the city in 1928. George Fox was in East Devon again in 1677 when he visited Membury, which is a small village about 12 miles from Exeter. And a chair, supposedly from the house where he stayed, was still in that house in 1886, and it was then shortly afterwards moved here, and it stayed here until about just under a year ago, when it was given to Swarthmore, because the Friends didn't feel it was getting the due care and respect which an old chair on which George Fox may have sat. The outstanding figure in the early history of the meeting in Exeter was John Gannicliffe. Many of the earlier meetings were held in his house in St Thomas on the other side of the Exe from the main city. And it was he and 4 others who secured the site for a meeting house in Exeter in 1690. Up to then, Friends had used hired rooms. The plot purchased in 1690 includes the site of the present meeting house, but was larger, stretching eastwards along what is now Pavilion Place. As with many Friends meeting houses associated with larger settlements, it was a greenfield site on the edge of the built-up area and outside the walls of the Roman and medieval city. First meeting house was completed before the summer of 1692 on this site. It was described in 1693 as a fine meeting at a house newly built. Like the other houses, meeting houses at the time, it was evidently at first a very basic structure. It had to be repaired in 1727, and in 1778 it was either rebuilt or extended, and again repaired again in 1806, and a new wing rebuilt at a cost of £690. a good-sized dwelling house could have been built for that money at the time. It is this building which is the subject of the first known picture of Exeter Meeting House from 1824, which I've seen. It's a very simple building. But it wasn't big enough, and it was obviously needing a lot of repair. So the friends decided to build a new meeting house on a different site. And that was built. They decided they were going to build a hall that would seat 500 people. They weren't 500 people. They didn't have the money to be able to repay the cost. I'm now talking about what I know and what is not here. There are substantial entries in the Devon Minute Book which are quite critical, quite severely critical, of the way Exeter Friends had managed their affairs. By 1870, this had been taken in hand, and they had decided they were able to repurchase this site and demolish a building that was, small houses that had been built on it, and this building was built in 1874. And when we first met it, we thought it was very much a nonconformist chapel. We have made some changes to the building, which I think we make it more acceptable. There was a minister's raised platform at this end, and we couldn't use this end of the meeting house. There was just a simple entrance. The whole of the portico at that side has been added, and the entrance has been opened out there. It is now a much more friendly building. And the building that they had built, it was sold to the Salvation Army, who built another extension on the front of it and still use and retain the use of it. So,
over there.
So it's about a quarter of a mile over in that direction. And I don't think there's any particular point in trying to investigate it. In our time in the meeting houses, we did own 2 houses on the road there, which were let to rather troublesome tenants, and there was a feeling in the meeting, which was quite small at the time, that this is a liability and they should be sold. So we sold them for £3,000 in about 1965, 70. I think they have changed hands for many hundreds of thousands since. And this meeting has grown. It's an active meeting. There are usually 50 or 60 friends here for our main meeting for worship on Sunday, and we have an evening meeting on Sunday, a Thursday evening meeting in the city, in a disused church, and another meeting at the university. So it's an active meeting, and I'll step aside from the speaker's role and say you're very welcome next.